The Topo Cyclone 2 is coming in February, $150. So it's a very flexible shoe with Topo's anatomical toe box. It is all PEBAX powered. There's no plate here whatsoever. It weighs 6.9 ounces, 196 grams in a US 9. It has a quite big 28 millimeter heel, 23 millimeter forefoot stack height. It is super fun to run. So here we're going to give you our run impressions. You can also find our full multi-tester review on RoadTrailRun.com. So I'm going to give you some impressions from the run, but first a few details and pros and cons. I'll also have some comparisons, fit and ride as I go through Rye, New Hampshire with these beauties. So the Cyclone 2 is a all PEBAX, authentic PEBAX powered shoe. So this is an entirely supercritical foam. It's the beaded variety. There you see the beads. And we have that 28 millimeter heel, 23 millimeter forefoot stack. There is absolutely no plate in this shoe. I'm 4 runs in, just got back. You can see this is a very flexible shoe. So Peter and I in our review said that it's really kind of the new natural running, because we have that anatomical toe box, we have a flexible ride, we have the supercritical PEBAX foam, but also what Topo has done really clever here with this 5 millimeter drop shoe is you can see we have a rocker as well. And this outrigger, I think, really helps the shoe from kind of bottoming out. I don't think it's all cosmetic. It's not, we found it's not a shoe for, say, slow running and lots of heel striking, but as soon as you pick up the pace, it is pretty amazing. We didn't really find it to bottom out as long as you kept going, and part of that is due to this outsole. So let's talk a bit about the outsole. You can see it's a very thin 2 millimeter rubber front and back, same as in their Spectre, which proved very durable. Now look, I've got about 25 miles on them, and I don't see anywhere whatsoever, anywhere. So there you can really see the beaded PEBAX foam. Let's press it a bit to give you an idea. You can see it is quite soft. I find it a bit softer than the original Power Run PB from Saucony, fairly close to the, if a bit softer than the Adios Pro Foam, maybe about the same, a touch softer than Zoom X, but it's certainly not as firm as, for example, Flight Foam Turbo from ASICS. So this is a very bouncy, energetic, natural feeling ride. You've got that wide platform up front. You really can feel yourself moving along. In terms of the outsole, I'll get to that on the run, but there's a tremendous amount of surprising grip here, even on some gravel, not gravel, but more like crushed granite. I'll show you that later. Now, of course, the upper. Topo is doing a fantastic job with uppers these days. And then this one, they've really outdone themselves. It is a single layer, very thin mesh that's quite dense, but with lots of breathability. And then you can see these lines. This is stitched in additional reinforcement and support. You can see it here. You can see it through the midfoot, and you can also see it on the medial side. You've got a bit of a toe bumper, and look at all that room. So just so you get an idea on sizing, Topo had only a US 8. I'm usually an US 8.5. I have narrower, lower volume feet, fairly high arches, and it fits perfectly. In fact, I think this, if you have a narrow, lower volume foot, and length is not the super big concern, you might consider sizing down half a size. I usually don't, but here it seems to work because look, you've got this very pliable mesh. The toe bumper isn't too crazy hard, so it seems to work. Now, let's look at the lacing here. Very nice setup with Topo's loops. There are 2 loops, one here, I don't know if we can see it, but one there to keep the tongue from moving. We have a quite stout tongue, and I think that's a smart move because, and I'll pull the laces here so you can see through, we do not have a gusset tongue here. Topo never seems to put a gusset tongue, and it works just great with our laces, little loops here, and also the thickness of the tongue not being a super thin one. So you can see through there, no overlays whatsoever. Now as we go to the rear of the shoe, nicely moderately padded collars. You can see fairly soft actually. The hold is tremendous, and I'll get to that on the run. You've got a fairly stiff top of the elf thing here, but it's maybe not quite as high as some of them. Excellent, 0 Achilles pressures. In terms of heel counter, well, it's what I would call more than totally minimal. We've got this stitched in again material that provides a support, and then a very clever back strip here that's stitched on that gives you the back support. So a very supportive upper given the wide toe box. I wouldn't call it a super race fit, you know, high race fit, but it is more than adequate, and particularly welcome if you really need that wider toe box. I don't really need it, but I'm sure loving the fit and the feel here of this toe box. So I've taken him out for floor runs. Peter is just over the moon as well over in Austin with his testing of this super energetic shoe. I'm going to give you those impressions from the run, but here's a few of the pros. Natural running, the new natural running. PEBAX powered rebounding cushioning, super light, very flexible and agile. Let me show you that flexibility again. Look at that. Soft foam, no bottoming out, but it's close for me as I tend to heel strike at slower paces. It's stable enough, surprising. No shank or plate, say as in the Streak Fly. Remarkably good grip. I've seen that. In terms of cons, maybe the size, I don't know if it's really a con, but if you have a narrow lower volume foot, you might size down. I do wonder what a plate might do in this shoe, a little midfoot plate. And Peter and I agree it lurks on the edge of bottoming out, but doesn't. And I'm a little bit worried of the exposed wear of the PEBAX, but we haven't seen any wear yet. I'm at about 20-25 miles. He's at 50. So I'm taking him out for a run. I'll give you the more fit impressions, more ride impressions, and comparisons. Stay tuned. So you want to get forward here on that broad, bouncy forefoot, even though at slower paces you don't bottom out. You do feel that it's 5mm drop. The rubber at the rear really keeps you from sinking too far. Less of a sinking feeling, low feeling than say the original Razors, but more than say one of its close competitors, the Streak Fly. The geometry really works well here. Really gets you rolling forward, super smooth to that bouncy forefoot. Not a slow pace shoe or a heavy heel strike shoe, but you can do it. I'm going 9:30 pace here and things are fine even at the heel. Let's talk about fit. So I'm a half size down from my normal here, and I think that works for my narrower lower volume feet. That's what Topo had as a sample, and I am well held up front in that anatomical toe box. The length pretty close, but I still think okay. You don't want to size up or even true to size here if you're looking for width. There's plenty of that. The mesh is a very thin single layer with these overlays, if you will, of stitching or additional woven in material that give it the structure. Plenty of heel hold here. Not, lockdown race fit, but very good, not slippy like the Cyclone 1 was. We have a quite moderately padded tongue. We have Topo's little lace loops. You can see one here, one over here that keep the tongue locked in. Midfoot hold is great. Not race fit, but that Ortholite sock liner gives it a bit more support. In terms of kind of the hold, overall very good, of course, with lots of room up front, but still very well held. Really a superb, more minimal upper. There's not much of a heel counter, but it's enough to hold things together. So tooling along here on the hard, crushed, softer kind of granite surface. They feel really good here. The lower heel isn't really nearly as noticed, and we've got lots of grip off the front. Really fun on this stuff. So get on some dirt roads with your Topo Cyclone 2s in February. So let's talk about the ride of our Topo Cyclone 2. Of course, we've got lots of energy quote return from our supercritical foam here, our full PEBAX. The other thing to note here is we are a very flexible shoe, complete flex. However, there's also a very effective rocker. And especially here at the rear, what happens is, in combination with that full coverage of thin outsole, you don't bottom out and you're moved forward quickly. Now it's a 5mm drop. It is soft, as you can see how soft it is, but it works really well, and better, I think, for me than say the Razor from Skechers used to, or even the Rebel V2. Not quite as good in the soft and plated, or mostly unplated, as the Streak Fly from Nike, and yet more stack plus a little plate. But it is a very enjoyable, kind of more natural ride. You really feel the bounce, you feel the flexibility. You've got plenty of support from this very minimal upper. Really amazing. And as I said, there's no gusset tongue in here at all. Lace up is really great, and Topo's little loops, you can see one right there, hold the tongue in place. Of course, there's toe box room here because it is a Topo, anatomical toe box room. And there's a bit of a bumper, denser material woven into this single layer. You can see how that all works to support things. Heel hold is good, very good, you know, for a shoe without a real heel counter. You see this strip back here, I mentioned it, that provides some of the stiffening too. So what does it feel like? Well, it feels like Topo, whose hashtag is Move Better, has kind of re-expressed the more natural riding shoe here with this plateless wonder, with all PEBAX, which is the most energetic and quote energy returning of foam. So it's just a super fun ride. Is it a daily trainer for me? No. You know, it's a bit low, a bit soft, but it is a super fun shoe for moving along, for really exercising the feet a bit, because, you know, we've got a lot of kind of twisting ability here to kind of exercise your feet, get them in touch with the road without it being punishing in any way. There's plenty of cushioning with that 28-23. I'll also highlight the outsole again. I've run on sand over concrete and pavement because we've had recent storms, and the grip is remarkably good. It is 2 millimeters thick, and we had the Spectre last year, which we reviewed, which had similar outsole, proved remarkably durable. So this is some kind of magic sauce. And then I'll also note, because I mentioned it earlier, that Topo made a change at the last minute to increase the coverage of rubber at the heel, and I think that plays a big role in stabilizing the heel. So if you're looking for something kind of exciting, fun, and kind of free, unplated, this is about the best you can find. I'm going to do a few more comparisons here now. The Streak Fly, I still prefer a little bit because of its higher drop and its plate, and it weighs about an ounce less because of the magic of Zoom X, which is lighter yet than what we have here. It actually has more stack. It's a more versatile kind of shoe. At $160, it's $10 more, compared to the Cyclone #1, which had a zip foam central core and an EVA outer core, same stack height, 28-23, no comparison whatsoever. That was a firm, kind of stiff shoe, maybe a touch more stable, but this is way more fun. So we're gonna have a full multi-tester written review of the Topo Athletic Cyclone 2 over on RoadTrailRun.com. It is a wonderful new option from Topo. It really kind of totally modernizes them, gives them sort of a faster days. Even I would race 5K to 10K shoe at a much lighter weight that's just highly competitive, sub 7 ounces, about 196 grams in a US 9. Now note, as I said before, I am in a half size down here and fit well. It may fit a bit big, so you might consider, if you have a lower volume, narrower foot, sizing down a half as I did. I don't notice any effect of it being a bit too short. And I'll show you over here where my toe is. It's pretty good. It's a little shorter than normal. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great 2023. This is our first review of the year, and have a great run.